Their unique sound has shifted to include everything from alt-folk to indie rock to pop-punk. They have also been strong and open supporters of the LGBT community. Their latest album, Love You to Death, finds them laying complex lyrics over danceable 80s-inspired synthetic pop tracks. The Los Angeles Times says, like so much of the best pop from Prince to Madonna to Lady Gaga, Tegan and Sara's music balances universality and specificity. The songs are relatable to many, but seem to reflect the personal experiences of one. Here they are performing the hit single, Boyfriend, in our studio.
Tell you that I love you, that I can't hold back. The feeling that you give me, wanna give it right back. I know you always win at this particular game. I need to know the rules if you want me to play. You treat me like your boyfriend and trust me like a very best friend. Kiss me like your boyfriend. You call me up like you would your best friend. You turn me on like you would your boyfriend. I don't wanna be your secret anymore. I'm trying to be honest, cause I can relax. When I get around you, I can hide the fact. I let you take advantage cause it felt so good. I blame myself for thinking we both understood. You treat me like your boyfriend and trust me like a very best friend. Kiss me like your boyfriend. You call me up like you would your best friend. You turn me on like you would your boyfriend. I don't wanna be your secret. I don't wanna play the crying game. Do you feel the same? You feel the same. Don't wanna spin the bottle again. Do you feel the same? You feel the same. You treat me like your boyfriend and trust me like a very best friend. Kiss me like your boyfriend. You call me up like you would your best friend. You turn me on like you would your boyfriend. I don't wanna be your secret anymore. You treat me like your boyfriend and trust me like a very best friend. Kiss me like your boyfriend. You call me up like you would your best friend. You turn me on like you would your boyfriend. I don't wanna be your secret anymore.
I'm pleased to have Tegan and Sara at this table for the first time. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having us. We're really
I heard
excited.
this wonderful thing, which was very flattering to me. I'm not sure it was you, Tegan, or whether it was Sara, or both. Sort of started because of your parents watching my show early on.
You know, we signed our first record deal in the late 90s, and we started touring in the United States. We grew up in Canada, and one of the first things I remember doing is, you know, we would share a hotel room, and we would turn on the TV, and we would watch you.
Oh my God, thank you.
And so you
took you a long while to get here.
It took us a long time. You know what? Everything in time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We're excited.
Indeed. But you've also, in that time between that beginning, have shifted in terms of the kind of music that you wanted to express yourself. Walk me through that.
You know, when we started playing music, we were teenagers, 15, so it would have been 1995, and so we were reflecting a lot of the music we were listening to. So it was more grunge and rock and punk pop, and I think over the 17 years that we've been making music professionally, music has changed a lot, but I think our ability to reflect the things we like and that we listen to, we've gotten better at that, and I think our production has reflected our confidence and our interest in music. So I think naturally over 8 records, we've turned more into like a pop band, but we always say we're making pop music, but we're not pop stars.
Well, and you also say you're stepping up, not selling out.
That's true. Oh, yeah. I think the worst thing ever would be as artists, especially because there's 2 of us, would be for one of us to grow disinterested or you know, not be as invested. Because it's a family band, I think we owe each other our best. And that has meant challenging ourselves, which means changing our sound. And we're very invested in trying to reach a broader audience and to diversify the mainstream. There's not a ton of queer women in the mainstream, and we're queer, and we saw an opportunity. We were getting a lot of support from mainstream artists, and we thought, man, maybe we should take this and run with it.
Is queer a term you like?
Yeah, we like queer better than
Lesbian upsets us.
Sarah says that lesbian makes her feel like we have like an affliction, whereas
No,
like
but
queer feels like
Well,
we're
my
fun.
first-
Oh, creative.
Yeah, totally.
Creative, yeah.
Do you know, the truth is, when I was in 10th grade and I did high school psychology class, there was like, you could take that class. And I remember really clearly being given these handouts about mental illness, and one of the ones that was crossed out, like this is my teacher's, not exactly wasn't the most
No.
professional, was homosexuality and lesbianism.
You haven't heard this before?
No.
And I remember, I mean, like, this is, I'm in the early years of me understanding that I was definitely different. I knew that my sexuality was different, and I remember being humiliated by reading, because it was just it was just blacked out, like across, over the. Don't worry, it used to be a disease, but we've changed our minds, And I remember being really affected by that, and those words, I think they stayed with me. And for me, queer is more like a reclaiming of sexuality and gender, and it's more of a broader identity.
It goes back generations, though, where it was in common usage.
Absolutely, and we know that we're sort of reclaiming a word that still to this day can sound really difficult for a lot of people. It's a word that's used against, gay people, and for us, it's sort of a way to talk more broadly, I guess, about our identity.
How close are you? I mean, is every instinct the same? Is every sense of you know exactly what she's thinking, vice versa?
Well, I don't know if it's as precise as like I can hear Tegan's thoughts or something. I mean, I think developmentally, because we were having so many of the same things happen.
Yeah. So it's both genetically and environmentally.
Sure.
We always say, I mean, we'd say this only in intelligent company, but we almost say sometimes our relationship's a bit like a marriage. When you've been married to someone for 35 years, you can read their thoughts. Well, I feel like sometimes Sarah and I, music is kind of like our child. And
But do you like the same thing?
I think that we have a general area that we both fit in, and I think we sit on either extremes. Yeah. Like I liked electronic music, so Sarah liked really obscure electronic music. I liked pop music, and Sarah liked a very specific kind of pop music.
Are you competitive with each other?
I think that we've come to terms with what we would have described, in our relationship. People wanted to define that as competition, which often made us feel like they were trying to divide us.
Right.
And so there was an instinct, especially when we were younger, to say, no, we're not competitive at all. We love each other. We are protecting one another.
I think we push each other.
Yeah.
We do. And I know I do it with Tegan a lot. I think I'm one of the only people who can say to Tegan, like, sing it this way, or I don't like that word, or I think you can do better with those lyrics.
Sarah labors over lyrics. We had a big song called Back in Your Head that came out in 2008, and Sarah said that she spent 80 hours re-recording it again and again and again, and like laboring over every word. And we had a song on our last record called Closer that did very well. It became a big pop single. I wrote it in 22 minutes.
How did you write it in 22 minutes?
Well, I'd sent her 3 songs that were mostly guitar, and I got 0 comments back. And then like a response a couple days later, it was like, yeah, it's good, keep writing. And I was like, ah. And so I like pulled out my keyboard, and I just, was like, whatever, C, F, G, and just started writing the hook and sent it to Sarah, and she wrote me right back. I barely had it sent.
This is good.
She wrote back and was like, finish it.
And you did in 22 minutes.
Yeah, and I just was like, oh, okay, that means she
And it
likes
became
it.
a big hit, Closer.
Yeah. So I feel like we
Do
balance
you
each
write
other.
more than she does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she spends too much time. If I spent 80 hours on a song, I'd be like, that's it. It's my opus.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I enjoy the time, too.
Yeah.
I think Tegan wants to complete it. That gives her a lot of satisfaction. And for me, the satisfaction is actually in the process.
Yeah. But you've had the good fortune to open for lots of good people.
Oh, yes.
Katy Perry.
I mean, we started our career
Taylor Swift.
opening for Neil Young. I mean, that sort
Neil
of
Young,
set the
that's
tone.
Hello.
That was our
speaking of songwriting, there you go.
I mean, he's a genius.
Formative 8 weeks.
I mean,
imagine it would be.
It was our first tour.
He's a good friend of mine and a good friend
yeah.
of this table, too.
He's been a good friend to us in that we wouldn't have the career we did. When his manager, Elliot Roberts, flew up to see us play in Vancouver, he said, you've got 2 paths. You can sign with a major label, and there's a great possibility you'll put a record or 2 out. But if it doesn't happen for you, that might be it. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're great songwriters, but you need time to develop. And he also said, you're 20 years old. What do you know about love? You need to live and,
Exactly.
and experience it.
Someone once said that you should never write a great novel like War and Peace unless you have lived life and
Exactly.
understand something
Or when
about
you're 20.
history and relationships and sadness and tragedy and all of that.
But that's what's great about being 20 is that you're so naive. You think you know. I was like, what do you mean? What do I know about love? But here we were in our 30s.
I'm an expert.
So we chose this path. We chose the path of signing with an indie and going out on tour with Neil Young and building our career and developing. And
I mean, touring with Neil Young was, I mean, you can really look, like the way that we've built our touring organization and our management and really the infrastructure of our career. I mean, we did that all based on what we saw Neil Young doing. I mean, like, I think everything about the way that we perceived his tour and the dynamics between, you know, he had his family out on tour. I mean, everything about it really appealed to us. And we thought, like, oh, if we can build something, even a fraction of what he has, that's, you know, going to be, this is the way to do it.
Now, who taught you have a relationship with your fans too? I mean, it seems to me that you go out of your way to connect.
Definitely.
Part of it's social media, but part of it is other things.
yeah. You know what's funny is we grew up listening to Bruce Springsteen, and one of our favorite records was his live record, and he would tell the stories. And when we first started
Tell the
playing,
stories and also make sure that by the time he leaves the stage, you know, if he's not flat on his back, he has done, everybody in that arena knows he's given up everything he has.
Absolutely. And that was, when we started playing music, we had maybe 8 or 10 songs we had to fill 2 hours. You know, we'd be playing like coffee shops and bars, so we'd talk. I'd be like, tell a story. And there was this pressure on us to entertain. And, you know, in terms of the relationship to our audience, we understood very quickly that we had taken a slower path, and we had chosen the path of development, and that meant that we had to create a relationship with our audience, and that, you know, maybe our audience was small and there was only 50 people there that night, but the next time we came through town, we needed to ensure those 50
Dave
people
Matthews
came.
did the same thing.
We were really influenced by that, and it seemed like something that also made us feel a bit less lonely. I guess, you know, we were out on the
We
road.
were using the fans as...
No, we really were. They were our peers, you know, where during those years where people go to college, or, you know, they're sort of like suddenly have this freedom from their parents, and they're surrounded by people like them, and we were alone. We were taking the Greyhound bus and playing shows late at night to, you know, strangers. So in a weird way, it was like our college years, and we were trying to connect to these people. We wanted them to be our friends. We wanted them to, you know, we wanted them to be part of our inner circle. And so
it was quite genuine, that connection, you know.
It really
we
was.
liked them.
It's
And
harder
then
now,
as we developed and as we got older, and as openly queer women, our audience started to really change. A lot of women and a lot of LGBT people being reflected back to us in our audience, and we were just like, it was hearing these incredible stories about how we'd inspired them and made them feel better about who they were, and made them feel comfortable about coming out. And at that point, Sarah and I became very protective of our audience. It became very much like, these people are very special in this community, and their connection to our music, we have to make sure we keep that very, 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 very safe. And so we can't lose that connection. And so it's, you know, in every conversation about everything we do, our audience is like number one.
And what percentage of your audience do you think comes from the LGBT community?
Well, it's hard.
I mean,
Yeah,
is
it's
it 20%?
It's
maybe,
hard
or-
to say now because
It's too dark, I can't see them.
Yeah, our eyesight was worse. You know, we can't really tell. It's changed.
It's bigger, too.
Yeah,
Bigger.
with radio play and with bigger TV stuff that we've had over the last, let's call it 5-10 years, we've seen the audience really diversify, which is great. We love seeing all different types of people, but Tegan's right. There's just something that we really cherish about the kids who came from that community. So we really pay a lot of attention to them. But when we're looking out night to night, we were just in London, and I just remember like looking out and thinking like, there's a lot of dudes in our audience.
Dudes, yeah.
A lot of guys.
Some of
Like,
those dudes are older white
guys,
men.
yeah. Well, there's always a lot of those around, aren't there? There are a lot of men
Tegan and
with
Sara
beards
for
right now.
everyone, even older white men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bearded. There was a guy with a big beard standing center stage in London, and I just thought like,
Hey,
look at
dude.
that guy. Like, look at his big beard. Like, it's so funny because for a lot of years it was like, Tegan's right, it was like a lot of people who looked like us. It was
Yeah.
girls and, you know.
When they talk about pep talks during the songs, they're talking about the kind of thing you were talking about with Springsteen, what you learned from Springsteen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, have a conversation with your audience.
Exactly. It's an opportunity. I mean, for us, it's an opportunity to share about our lives and help develop a relationship with the audience. But I think for the audience, it's an opportunity for them to get to know us a bit better. You know, and this all started before social media. But even with social media, where you're presenting one image, you know, it's very 1D. It feels like,
Yeah.
and I think Sarah and I are very much about creating a 360-degree view of who we are. I want people to understand that we've put everything into our music, and I'm not up on stage to get rich and famous. I'm up on stage because I feel
You have something to say.
I feel like intense purpose about being on stage, and I feel passionate about music, but I also feel passionate about traveling the world and understanding people. And you know, this is a family band, so I feel passionate about creating a business with my sister. And I don't want to just get up on stage and be like, "What's up?" Like some people do that, and that's fine. That's good. That works. If I did that, I mean,
I will never again hear that without thinking that, you shouldn't. What's up? What's up? Come
that's
on,
fine.
what's
Some
up?
people are good.
Let's
You know what?
talk.
Someone said it to me the other day. They're like, some people cannot talk on stage. You're just like, shh, don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Oh, yeah.
It is so true.
Yeah.
It's
To see
true.
them come out, they have nothing to say
Yeah.
if they say what's up.
That's definitely not. We're not
what's up,
hurting
man.
for something to say. We sometimes, like Tegan gets going during the shows, and I'm like, we have to play songs though tonight as well. You understand that there will be
Now,
a musical
are
part.
you more politically active than the other? Politically.
We are both incredibly politically active,
Yeah.
and we're both very sensitive to also making sure that we are a band. We write songs that are not necessarily political,
Right.
and so we're really
About
careful.
love and tragedy.
Yeah.
Right, and
Hurt.
so
Keep each other in check, right?
Yeah.
The balance.
Yeah,
Right.
and we also want, I think Tegan and I, without being too, judgmental, I don't want this to be taken as like this is how everyone should do it, but we also see it as we feel compelled to talk about the things that are important to us or what we see going on in the world. And it's more than just tweeting or about saying something. We really do. We belong to a community that's active. We try to help people. We try to, raise awareness about certain things. That gives us a lot of purpose. It makes us feel really good. And I get that a lot of bands don't want to do that. So we try to keep it in balance, though. We know that we're
We keep
just
each other
a
in
band.
check. We
Yeah.
keep each other in check.
We're not politicians. We try not to be anyway.
How many hits has Boyfriend received?
You know what? Boyfriend is an interesting song. It's done very well for us. It's done very well for us on streaming. Like,
Yeah, that's what I
like
mean.
millions.
Yeah.
I mean, millions and millions of.
Just entered the top 10 in Canada, which is very exciting. Very progressive.
It just
feels
did?
like.
Yeah.
Top 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which feels very exciting.
Yeah.
On radio.
On radio, yeah.
I mean, streaming is so different because it's just like, it's hard to sometimes figure out, like, is that someone listening to the song 400 times or is that
Yes.
is that actually 11 million people? Like, it's so
Somebody in the
confusing.
basement.
Oh my
just
God, my
learning.
mother, probably my mom, just like
Over and
re-hitting it.
over and over.
She's got
doing
like
the
a
numbers.
pencil rigged up, so just presses play on it over and over again. She's like helping us make
Oh,
money.
I know. I've got it up. Hey, darlings, I've got it up too.
We're just getting used to all of it like everyone else. I mean, streaming is like this is the first album where we're trying to figure out what it really means. Like, how many people are really listening to this thing based on streaming? We don't know.
I suspect a lot.
Well, a lot. It seems like a lot. Yeah.
I mean, you
It's
do
been
have a
well
social
received.
media presence.
Yeah.
I mean, we
we
are
do.
really into social media. I mean, we sort of came up as social media was really blooming, and we loved it because, we couldn't get press, couldn't get TV, couldn't get radio. So for us, social media was our way of having, we literally made our own TV shows and we would put them out on the internet. And
We were after your job.
we were,
really?
we had
Oh, my
interview
God.
shows. I mean, we did.
Watch out.
Oh, really?
We were
Oh.
always creating content for our
Oh, no.
audience. We were like,
You cannot have my paper. You cannot
no,
have
no,
my
no,
paper.
we don't want this. We're
This
going to
wouldn't
let
fit
you
in the trailer. We had
No.
to use other things.
But we wanted people to see us, and so the only way we knew how to do that was to make our own content. So we love social media. I mean, within reason. Sometimes it drives us crazy.
Talk about this song quickly. That girl.
I wrote that song about being like, when you hit that moment where you're like, oh no, I'm that girl. Like I felt like I was making myself out to be the victim all the time in relationships, but actually I'm the one that's always in control. And I realized that I had maybe mined other relationships for content, not thinking about those people's feelings in all of it. And I was having a moment where I felt like maybe a little bit like a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you need to control your relationships?
Well, my life is very complicated, and so
I see.
So I've had
I
felt
see.
That means yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
I know.
Looking for a
you know
short
what?
answer.
But I don't.
Yes.
But I don't feel that anymore. I needed to make room. I share everything
You're not
with
controlling
Sarah.
anymore?
No, not
Oh.
anymore. Everything was
Oh,
about
Miss-
me.
the needy one who needs so much attention. Oh, now she's trying to get people off, So, like,
Faint of heart.
I wrote that one. My hope is that people hear that and hear the voice of somebody saying that no matter who you love and no matter what your relationship is, that you don't need to validate it for anybody else.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Boyfriend.
Boyfriend is just a pop song about trying to get somebody to nail it down. I've been joking. It's my Beyonce put a ring on it. It's about you want someone to say like, yes, we are in an exclusive relationship. That's all that song's about.
Beyonce.
I see. Dying to know.
Sarah and I
We
co-wrote
wrote that.
that,
Yeah,
you know.
that's actually one of our very first
You co-wrote.
true collaborations.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's basically it's about getting broken up with, maybe having a bit of a broken heart,
But in a way, it's about social media. It's our, where we like go.
Ew, gross. Don't compare it to social media.
Well,
It's
no,
not
but
about
where
social
you
media.
go and you look at your ex and you look at their pictures and that's what Dying to Know is about.
Not being able to move on.
Yeah.
White Knuckles.
White Knuckles is about my relationship with Tegan. And
so
and-
that's where we should go.
Sure. Yeah, we can go there.
Yeah.
White Knuckles is, truly it's about the time when I was in my early 20s and we were living in Vancouver and I decided to move to Montreal, which was I mean, I might as well have been moving to Iceland. Like, it seemed really, really far.
Did you come in and announce that, or was this done at a particular moment? When
No,
you...
I remember saying, like,
Sober?
I was sober. I was very sober, and I had decided that I really wanted to move to Montreal, and I didn't want to break up the band, but I knew that if I didn't find some independence, if I didn't find my own life, my own stride, I wasn't going to be in the band.
Did it work?
It did. I was able, you know, it was at 20.
very good for
I mean,
our
at
band.
23
See, I
years
learned
old.
each of you to be a truth teller for me.
We're totally,
are,
yeah.
We'll call each other out.
This
There's
is like
no lying
This
here.
is like couples therapy, you know, where a couples
Yes.
therapist looks at your partner and says, "Is that true?"
That's
And-
true. It was very
but
good for us.
It was really good for us.
I'm skipping a couple here. Hang on to the night.
Hang on to the night is about anxiety. It's about worrying about the world. It's my midlife crisis song.
This, you had a crisis?
I feel like I always am having
You were
crisis.
30 what, 7?
35.
35.
Jeez. Is the lighting in here? You're aging me by 2 years?
I'm 35, Sarah's 32.
Oh my God.
It was a long 2 years for my mom.
This has just been released on June 3rd.
Yeah. It's brand new.
No.
But you know, in our
brand
day,
new and brilliant.
Our day, Nick,
Brand new and brilliant?
That's very sweet. Well, we think it's pretty good.
Do you?
Yeah, we're
Best thing
confident.
you've done.
It's our 8th record, so we feel like we've got a lot of things figured out. We feel like we're writing great songs.
We will say that it's the most critically positive reviewed record of our career.
And we've had some really
It's
bad
almost
reviews.
overwhelming. Sarah
Have you
keeps
had bad reviews?
Horrible.
in the past.
Terrible
But
things.
Sarah keeps saying to me something bad must be coming because
Oh, yeah.
everything's been so positive. It's been insane.
Look where it got you. It got you
I'm
on this
scared.
show.
I know it did. It got us on this show.
Yeah.
Finally.
Oh, my God.
No.
It's huge.
Thank you. Thank you very much. An honor,
absolute
pleasure
pleasure.
to see you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much.
Much success with this.
Thank you.
Love you to death. Thank you for joining us. See you next time. For more about this program and early episodes, visit us online at pbs.org and charlierose.com.
Can't deny I'm begging for attention. Dropping in, hoping for some tension. Getting tired of making all this racket. Waiting on you to get your ass in gear. I didn't wanna be so invested. I played it cool and then I overdressed it. You were there, I was tired of this nonsense where you pretend you don't get me, feel me, want me, like me, love me, need me. Tonight, you fuel for my fire. You can't stop desire. Oh, 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 stop desire. Oh, 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 I've tried, but you're fuel to my fire. You can't stop desire. Oh, 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 stop desire. Oh, 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 oh. In a minute I'll be hoping that you're outside. Another second you'll be walking on my wild side. You know I'm ready for anything to happen. Take this passion, turn it into action. Get me, feel me, want me, like me, love me, need me. Tonight, you feel for my fire. You can't stop desire. Oh, 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 stop desire. Oh, 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 I've tried, but you're fuel to my fire. You can't stop desire. Oh, 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 stop desire. Oh, 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 right where I want you, back against the wall. Trust when I promise, never let you fall. You're right where I want you, back against the wall. You can trust me, I'll never let you fall. Tonight, you feel for my fire. You can't stop desire. Oh, 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 stop desire. Oh, 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 I've tried, but you're fuel to my fire. You can't stop desire. Oh, 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 stop desire. Oh, 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 tonight, you're fuel for my fire. You can't stop desire. Oh, 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 stop desire. Oh, 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 oh.